Welcome back everyone. Today we're gonna learn how to make the second type of shortcrust pastry that is used in France, more especially in French baking, when you need to do what we call the blind baking. And this is actually the action of pre-cooking your tart or pie base to use in certain desserts. Demonstration and explanation coming up. Now let's start with the demonstration. So as you can see here, I'm using today a food processor. If you wonder what it is a Magimix 5200 XL, and I'm using a dough blade, and that's what you can see here. The reason I'm using a food processor because really I find it extremely useful, easy to use, it's quick, and you really get a great result every single time, and this is why I love to use those to make a pastry dough. Now let's do this. We are making today a pâte sucrée in French, which is called in English a sweet shortcrust pastry dough. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're gonna start by pouring in your food processor 250 grams of plain flour, followed by 100 grams of confectionery sugar, also called icing sugar, and we're gonna whiz this, give it a whiz, as I said, just a little pulse, just to mix everything. Once you've done this, you're gonna incorporate little cubes of cold butter. There's 150 grams of plain butter, and we are gonna do the same thing. We're gonna do a few pulses to get a sandy type of mix. Okay, so I've been pulsing that thing for about a minute, and you see what happened? It gets yellow, the butter starts to get warm a little bit, and you get that kind of sandy kind of effect that you want. So detach a little bit like that, and we're just gonna do another pulse, just for just a few seconds. Alright, so the sanding process, as we call it, is done, and as you can see here, the whole mix is really uniform. You don't have massive clumps of butter, and this is what you want. You want to have your butter with your sugar and flour incorporated all together so that you get that really sandy base. Now, what we're gonna do is pour in a mix which is made of 1 full egg, a tablespoon of water, and a pinch of salt. You pour it over your mix like that, and then we're gonna run it on continuous until it forms one big ball of dough. As soon as the dough forms like this, you stop. And you're done. You see how fast it is. Look at the consistency. It's not the same as a standard shortcrust. It is very fragile, and the butter has kind of melted, and you need to leave this now to set in the fridge for at least 2 hours before we can do anything with it. All done. So when you're finished, you take your dough out of the food processor. And this is what you get. So word of warning, as soon as it's ready like this, don't work it too much, make it a little package like that, and put it in the fridge. Now keep in mind that this shortcrust pastry here is really difficult to use when you're gonna roll it out and you're gonna blind bake it, because it's very fragile because of the sugar. It can break. So it's not the easiest to handle, but we're gonna cover this on our next video for Friday, where we're gonna see the blind baking using our dish here and the ceramic bowl. So this is how it works, to give you a rough idea of what's gonna happen on Friday. And we got the dough at the bottom. You fill with some, this is just ceramic, without the filling, and we're gonna pre-cook this. But all of this is gonna come on the Friday recipe, which is gonna be the lemon tart that some of you have been asking for quite some times. So I hope this was useful to you, and you can hopefully now make that shortcrust pastry, the sweet one. And remember, it's called the pâte sucrée in French, and it is used mostly for blind baking tarts. I see you all on Friday. Bye bye.